Early morning, the sun had barely crested the horizon when an urgent headline flashed across screens worldwide. U.S. sends 87-foot patrol boats to Philippines. Big message to China. The dramatic arrival was not just another news story. It was a moment that could shape the future of a troubled region. Cameras rolled as gray hulls sliced through the sparkling waters of Manila Bay, flags snapping in the tropical wind. The world watched as two sleek vessels bristling with high-tech gear came into view. Reporters scrambled along the docks to catch a glimpse. Their arrival was met with a mix of awe, curiosity, and for some, relief. In the tense atmosphere of the South China Sea, these patrol boats were more than machines. They were a signal. For U.S. officials, this was a move calculated to reassure an old friend and warn a growing rival. For the Philippines, it was a promise of protection and partnership. The timing could not have been more dramatic, nor the stakes higher. The world held its breath, knowing that the arrival of these boats was just the beginning of a new chapter in a much larger story. The patrol boats glided into Manila Bay just as the city was waking up. Their engines rumbled quietly, their hulls gleaming in the early light. Crowds gathered on the waterfront, some waving tiny flags, others holding phones aloft to capture the historic scene. Children pointed and whispered while older residents looked on with wary hope. U.S. Navy and Coast Guard personnel stood at attention, crisp uniforms blending with the sharp lines of the boats. Philippine officers greeted them with salutes and handshakes, their faces serious but determined. Banners fluttered overhead, reading "Welcome Allies" in bold letters. The mood was one of unity and purpose. As the boats docked, speeches began. The U.S. ambassador spoke of friendship across the seas and standing together for freedom. Filipino officials thanked the Americans, stressing the importance of peace and security. The crowd listened closely, aware that these words carried weight in uncertain times. That morning, Manila Bay became the stage for a message aimed far beyond its shores. The world's eyes were fixed on the Philippines, waiting to see what would happen next. At first glance, the 87-foot patrol boats might seem small compared to large warships, but their true power lies in their speed, agility, and technology. Built for quick response and coastal defense, these vessels can patrol vast stretches of water with ease. Onboard crews have access to radar, advanced communications, and weapons designed for modern threats. Each boat carries a mix of machine guns and high-powered sensors. They can track and intercept suspicious vessels, respond to emergencies, and support search and rescue missions. Their small size lets them maneuver close to shorelines and through narrow straits, ideal for the complex waters of the South China Sea. In a crisis, they can be anywhere, fast. The patrol boats also send a strong political message. Their American flags signal that the United States is present, watching, and ready to act. For the Philippines, these boats boost confidence and strengthen their ability to protect their own waters. For fishermen and Coast Guard crews, it means safer seas. In short, these patrol boats are not just hardware. They are a symbol of commitment, caution, and readiness in a region where every move is closely watched. The South China Sea is one of the world's busiest and most contested waterways. Stretching across 1.3 million square miles, it is a lifeline for global trade. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of goods pass through its waters. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer. Multiple countries, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, the Philippines, and China, all claim parts of the sea. Rich fishing grounds and potential oil and gas reserves make the stakes even higher. In recent years, rival patrol boats have faced off, and fishing boats have been caught in the middle. The risk of conflict is always present. For decades, the United States has tried to keep these waters open and stable. Freedom of navigation, the right to sail, where international law allows, is a principle Washington defends. The arrival of the patrol boats in the Philippines is part of that effort, a clear sign that the U.S. will not step back. In this complex game, every new ship, every patrol, and every alliance matters. The world's attention is fixed on what happens next. China claims nearly the entire South China Sea, marked by its so-called 9-dash line. This sweeping boundary cuts deep into waters that others consider their own. Over the past decade, China has built artificial islands, set up military bases, and sent fleets of ships to patrol the area. Neighbors have protested, but China's actions have only grown bolder. Filipino fishermen have reported being chased away by Chinese vessels. Coast Guard ships sometimes find themselves outnumbered or outgunned. The fear is real, and it affects daily life for many in the region. Tensions spiked in recent years as China stepped up patrols and construction on disputed reefs. The United States has challenged China's claims, sending naval ships through the area to show that these waters belong to no single country. This policy, known as freedom of navigation operations, keeps the sea lanes open and reminds China that the world is watching. As China's power grows, so does the risk of a miscalculation. The arrival of U.S. patrol boats in the Philippines is both a warning and a reassurance, a sign that pushback is possible. The United States and the Philippines have a long history as allies. Their security pact, the Mutual Defense Treaty, goes back decades. In tough times, they have stood together. Now with tensions flaring in the South China Sea, that alliance matters more than ever. Joint military exercises have become a common sight. American and Filipino troops train side by side, learning to work as one team. The arrival of the patrol boats is the latest step in deepening this partnership. U.S. advisors will help train Philippine crews, sharing skills and experience. This teamwork sends a message: the Philippines is not alone. Together, the allies are stronger. Their cooperation makes it harder for any one country to try and dominate the sea. With each new patrol, the partnership grows. For both nations, this moment is about more than ships and equipment. It is about trust, loyalty, and a shared belief in defending what matters most. In the Philippines, reactions to the patrol boat's arrival were immediate and strong. Local leaders in coastal towns welcomed the extra security. "Our people feel safer," said a mayor from Palawan, an island close to disputed waters. Fishermen expressed hope that their livelihoods would be protected from foreign interference. Officials in Manila praised the move as a practical step toward peace. "These boats are not here to provoke, but to deter," said the defense secretary. He pointed out that more patrols mean fewer chances for illegal activity and less fear for those who work at sea. Ordinary Filipinos shared mixed feelings. Some worried that the new arrivals could spark more tension with China. Others saw the boats as a much-needed shield. Social media buzzed with photos, videos, and debates about what would come next. Across the country, one thing was clear: the arrival of the patrol boats had touched a nerve. Everyone knew this moment was bigger than any one ship or speech. For China, the U.S. deployment of patrol boats is impossible to ignore. Some Chinese officials called it provocative. State media warned of foreign interference and repeated China's claims to the South China Sea. Yet, behind the strong words, there was also caution. Nobody wants open conflict. Not China, not the Philippines, not the United States. Other countries in the region watched closely. Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia have their own disputes with China. For them, the U.S. action could be a sign of hope, a reminder that they are not alone. The patrol boats are a symbol. The world's most powerful navy stands ready to help those who ask. Diplomats now face a delicate balance. They must show strength without provoking a crisis. The U.S. and the Philippines will stress that the boats are for defense, not offense. But the message is still clear. The status quo is being challenged. The region is tense, but the arrival of the patrol boats could mark a turning point. How China responds will shape what happens next. The story is far from over. More patrols are expected in the coming months. U.S. and Philippine crews will train together, learning to face new threats. Other allies may join, bringing more ships and more resources. The world will watch for signs of escalation, or for new talks, aimed at peace. For China, the message is mixed. It is a warning not to push too far, but also an invitation to talk. The South China Sea will remain a flashpoint, but diplomacy could still win out. The risk, however, is always there. The arrival of the 87-foot patrol boats marks a new phase in a long struggle. It is a story about power, pride, and the search for security. For the people of the Philippines, and for all who depend on the sea, the hope is simple: peace, stability, and a future free from fear. In the end, what happens in the South China Sea matters to the whole world. The choices made here, on the water, at the negotiating table, and in the hearts of leaders, will shape the next chapter for Asia, and for all of us.